Last time on Races to Places, Heiko sadly lost some of, as he claimed, the best mustard in the world.
I'm devastated.
This looks like an interesting piece of historical engineering.
Here we are in Richtown in the historic reserve of Macetown. And I've just come up the Macetown track, which has about 26 river crossings on the way up here, and found this. This is what you call an old battery, and it's what they used to use to extract gold from the quartz up here. So what they did is they had some water-powered device spinning the battery over here, spin this huge shaft here. Inside there, big piston blocks, and they would put the quartz inside, and the big piston block would crush the quartz and then burst it out onto this sledge here. From that they had some blankets on here. Then what happened is, over here there was a belt down to this bucket over here. They would take the blankets, put the blankets in here and basically run them around and crush them to pieces to filter the gold out of the blanket. It's awesome.
The road Lyndon and Basil are currently on is called Skipper's Road. Apparently, if you hire a car in New Zealand, the hire company won't issue insurance to drive the stretch of road. I wonder why.
It's a pretty sheer drop, it's actually undercut.
This area is within Skipper's Canyon. It contains Shotover River, which is one of the most gold-rich rivers in New Zealand.
Here I am, finally in my tent tonight. Today's just been one of those days. Seen some spectacular stuff, you know, rode up the Macetown Canyon, seen some amazing scenery, and then I was checking my oil this morning on the bike. I left the oil filler cap off. Thankfully I'd been carrying one since the beginning as a spare for the last 650 odd days, and thankfully I remembered that I'd left it off after I'd set off riding. Unfortunately I'd already ridden through some deep rivers, so managed to get a bit of water in my oil, so then I carried on the road, did some filming, lots of filming today, and then when I arrived at the Mvara Lakes, I went to get my Cena prison cam out of my tank bag, and he wasn't there. So I've lost my camera. It's got about 2 or 3 days filming on. I've lost it all, and I'm really, really pissed off. Well, morning folks, here we are this morning. Lovely night's sleep. Got some work to do on the bike this morning. Need some new rear brake pads, they're completely shot. Need to lock wire one of the grips, which I took off when we straightened the handlebars about a week ago. You see my rear disc is completely scarred, and the reason for that is that basically the brake pads are non-existent. One thing that's important is to clean the piston here. Clean it with a rag, and then when you push it back it doesn't get all the shit into the seal, and then you don't risk damaging the brake seal and the caliper.
Bike's ready to go again, and I'm hoping for a better day than yesterday.
You only live once. See, I'm down with the kids when it comes to street slang.
So I'm just going to take you for a look around one of these traditional camping huts, hunters' huts, whatever you might want to call it. But this is Fork's hut, and there's quite a few of these in the very remote areas. Let's go take a look. So, what we've got in here is a big fireplace, which is really nice to keep the thing warm. Bit of firewood that people have left behind. Some bunk beds, mattresses, little table to work on. I can imagine it's pretty nice just to spend a few days up here. No night sleeping in a hut would be complete without Ted. And especially when you look out the window and see what sort of thing there is out there. Look at that. There's the second river which I went through yesterday. Let's see if we can get through it without dropping the bike. Whoa. No worries.
Always trying to give you new information and tips, life skills here, Races to Places. I'm not completely sure when this one will come in handy, but here is how to shear a sheep. The TSS Earnshaw was commissioned by New Zealand Railways to service the communities around the Lake Wakatipu. Launched the same year as the Titanic, the TSS Earnshaw's maiden voyage was on the 18th of October 1912. She's known locally as the Lady of the Lake and is featured in Hollywood movies. She certainly makes for an interesting boat ride.
Probably one of the most beautiful views that I've seen in New Zealand so far. This valley is just amazing. Look at the snow up there, up there.
Bit of a joke. I just got all the way to Milford Sound only to be told that there's no camping, and the first available camping spot is 55 minutes away, so a long drive. Well, screw that. So I went out into the bush, did a little bit of riding around, found myself this little spot right here. If you sleep here, don't shit here.
A nice spot to have some crunchy nut cornflakes.
Just stood eating my dry cereal this morning, crunchy nut cornflakes.
Well, any trip to Milford Sound wouldn't be complete without a little boat journey. Got a ticket and I'm going to take a little boat journey around the fjord. This place was carved by a giant glacier. It was a nice little trip out this morning on the boat, just beat the weather, it's just about to start raining. So I'm going to go find Basil, get loaded up and get the heck out of these fjords down south.
Reading the track ahead, trying to make sure we're getting the right route. Big rock steps everywhere. Woo!
This bridge you see behind me is the Clifton Suspension Bridge in South Island, New Zealand. It's well over 100 years old, built in 1899. It was originally used to save them having to use boats to get across the river, and it was traditionally used for some 20 or 30 years by horse and cart, at which point cars were introduced and trucks. They continued to use it right up until 1978, and in 1978 the new bridge was built, but this bridge was kept in place and was still used by various people for some years. The bridge was actually closed to the public in 2013 just for some minor works on the woodwork. It's now open for everybody to walk across. Traffic can't get across it. Myself and the motorcycle tried yesterday, but we couldn't fit through the barrier.
A lovely perch to answer a few emails. Lyndon has a special announcement to make.
What's going on here then? So a pretty important milestone today for Races to Places. As you can see, myself and Basil just hit 100,000 kilometres. It's been epic, 100,000 kilometres, 37 countries, and we're about a day off reaching the very southern tip of New Zealand, which will be the furthest south that will go on this continent, and indeed on the trip so far. So that's it, well done Basil. Here's to the next 100,000.
Next time on Races to Places, Lyndon finds the world's fastest Indian Scout motorcycle.
So can you imagine looking through that screen doing over 300 kilometres an hour?